with the superpower where you sit in somebody else's feelings like you're binge watching their show. You don't skip the intro, you just let it buffer. Empathy is not saying, wow, that sounds hard. Anyway, have you tried yoga? That's sympathy with a gym membership. Empathy is listening.
Hey y'all, so all these years talking about narcissism, how to escape, how to empower yourself, how to elevate past it so you never go back. And I never touched on how to really know what empathy is. It's not so simple as just feeling each other's feelings and being able to tell if someone's sad or upset. So I came up with 10 ways to know for sure. So let's get into it. And I got my cue cards right here, so I will be reading it, okay? So 1, they actually listen. So you start telling somebody something, like, of course, you know, when you start a conversation, you guys are chatting about the weather and whatever, and you're not in a serious conversation. But as soon as you start to say, well, let me tell you what happened last week, the person actually looks at you, looks you in the eye, looks towards you, puts down their phone, puts down whatever they're doing, you know, gets a comfortable position and is like bought in with you, right? Being a therapist, you know, listening is my number one task. And when I've been training people the last couple of years, I had one of the trainees like, man, that takes stamina. Do you know it takes stamina to sit and be tuned in to another person's thoughts and feelings for a whole hour? So, you know, don't try to do what I do because I'm amazing. But for a 5, 10, 20-minute conversation, this is what people should be doing for you. You should feel like they are tuned in. They're right there with you. They're paying attention. They're making facial expressions that show that they're like, you know, feeling some of the things that you are saying. Okay. Then they don't interrupt you. Okay. I have people that I tell them something and they immediately interrupt me, take what I'm saying, make it about themselves and tell me all about their story. And then I'm the one sitting there listening empathetically and in my head going like, we were talking about me though, like what happened, right? Okay. Then they actually remember. Okay. So maybe later that day, later that week, they check in with you like, hey, so what happened with that thing? Or are you still feeling sad about that thing we talked about, you know, on Sunday, Monday, Saturday? Okay. So those are like ways to see if someone's actually listening to you. Okay, the next one is they notice when something's off about you. So if you're normally bubbly, talkative, the first person to go up to people in a room or whatever, and then one day you're not. So they don't just ignore you and leave you alone and decide, oh, I thought something was wrong with you, so I left you alone. Excuse me? Like, what kind of response is that? So they actually ask you, are you okay? And you know, those of us empathic people, as soon as somebody asks you, are you okay? With actual empathy, you start crying, right? If you're not okay, you know, because you're just like, wow, you're just crying that they asked. You know, they open their heart, you're opening your heart to them, whatever. You know, they signal you maybe like, hey, do you need to talk or whatever? They don't make a big scene about it. They don't say something sarcastic like, what's wrong with you? You're acting different today. You're not your normal bubbly self. You're not, you know, doing this and that. Those kind of responses are from people who see you as entertainment. That when you're around, they want to suck your good, positive energy that you normally have. And when you don't have it, instead of them being empathetic, they're appalled that they're being slighted because they can't suck up your energy, right? Even if you say you're fine, right? They kind of know. And they might say, you know, you don't seem fine, or I'm here for you. Let me know. Maybe you want to talk later. Maybe you don't want to talk about it now. They will still show that, you know what, dude, I could tell. So I'm still going to, you know, reach out a hand for you to use later. Okay. That is empathy. Okay. The next one is they don't rush to fix everything. Okay. Like you're telling them about, you know, let's say your car broke down and it's going to need a carburetor and a starter and, I don't know, a new electric battery, right? Instead of them just listening to you and how hard it is and what's going on with you, they immediately probably feel uncomfortable. So they want to end the conversation or change the subject. So they give you some advice. Oh yeah, you know, you should go see homeboy on Center Street and he'll hook you up for $500 and whatever. Like, here, just fix your problem, because I really don't actually want to listen to you. So that goes back to number one, right? They just want those solutions at you. And they're not even listening to everything. Maybe you have a solution, but you're just starting at the beginning of the story to tell them everything. Some of us like to do that, right? But no, people don't want to do that. They don't have time to listen to you. They want to fix your problem so that you're not bringing it to them. Well, maybe you should do this. Well, how about doing that? Well, my cousin's uncle's aunt's brother did this and that's what worked for them. I'm not your cousin's uncle's aunt's brother. Like, dude, what? So, or they give stupid stuff like, oh, you don't like your job, just quit. Oh, you don't like your partner, just leave them. Oh, just quick things to end the conversation. And for you to get a solution for your problem so you don't have to bring your problem to them anymore. Just ridiculous and not empathetic at all. So an empathetic person would let you vent about it, actually just listen, actually just be there for you and wait for you to say what you want to do about the problem, offer you help and support, maybe offer you, hey, I know someone if you need, or I know someone when you're ready. Okay, so they're still leaving the door open to actually help you and support you through, rather than throwing a solution and trying to get away from it. Okay, number 4, they validate your reaction. So when you're telling them a story, again, like I said, with facial expressions, they're like, like, wow, like, I can't believe that. And even that matches, what you're feeling about a situation. But they also just tell you that, like, yeah, wow, that makes sense. Wow, I can see why you feel that way. Oh my gosh, you're not overreacting, Instead of, you're overreacting, you're too sensitive, or just get over it, They don't say things like that. They actually are right there with you, And even some of us have friends who we will tell each other the truth. Like, ooh, that does sound like a lot, but like, that's like here, and your reaction is like here. So that's still compassionate and empathetic, if I gotta tell you the truth, right? That you're coming from a really defensive place. And, maybe you don't need to do that, but this is a big situation. So, we're not lying to each other, but we're being validating, right? And letting each other know that, any other person in your situation would feel this way. And maybe there's some other different feelings, but the general feelings are similar for all of us, okay? Number 5, and this is really hard for me because I spend so much time helping people by telling them what the narcissist is doing. So I keep wanting to say all the things a narcissist would do in these situations. So I'm holding back and staying on the positive of what they don't do and what an empathetic person would do. Okay, so they adjust their behavior. They actually change, okay? So when you tell them, hey, like, that hurt me, what you said, they apologize, and then they change their behavior and they don't do it again, okay? Or if they do it a second time, they go, oh yeah, that's right, I'm sorry. You don't want to joke like that or whatever, and then they don't do it again. And they remember, right, what triggered you, what hurt you. The reason they remember is because they felt it. They had empathy toward it, right? So if you say, oh, I don't like to drive down that street because it reminds me of this horrible situation that happened there, right? So you'll be driving along and they'll go down the street and they'll go, oh yeah, you know what? Let me take this other way around. It's a little longer, but I remember that you don't like to go down that street. That is empathy, because when you told them that story about why you didn't want to go down that street, they felt it. They understood. They were putting themselves in your shoes and they connected, right? So definitely want to look for changes in behavior, not just lip service, not just, oh, okay, I won't say that anymore. Oh, I see that bothers you. Oh, you're so sensitive. Oh, okay. But then they do it again. That's not real and true empathy, okay? Number 6, they follow up with you. So again, like I said in a previous one, if you talked about something difficult Monday, by Friday, depending on how their week went, if they were too busy, they check in, hey, how did that thing go? How did this go? They remember what you talked about. They remember important dates as well as stressful dates. Like, you know what? Mother's Day is coming up, and since your mom passed away, I know it's a hard day for you. What are you feeling like doing, right? Now, this is not to say that all people who forget these dates are narcissistic or are horrible people. A lot of you with ADHD have a really hard time remembering a lot of things. But if you're in a relationship, you chose to be there and you chose to give love and be with this person. So go to a therapist, go to a psychiatrist, get your ADHD fixed, medicated, helped, so that you remember important dates and important things, especially if your partner has had trauma in their life. Like, it's just not an excuse, oh, I have ADHD and I can't remember. So, oh well. Like, well, then don't be in a relationship if you don't want to do that for the person that you say you love, okay? But aside from ADHD, or like traumatic brain injuries, other reasons why people would forget, people that say they love you shouldn't be forgetting. They should be remembering things and checking in with you. Even if they can't fully talk to you, just sending you a little text, like, hey, thinking about you today, because I know you have that important meeting. I know you have that doctor's appointment. Wish I could be there. Those are empathetic things to do. Okay. So the following up. Number 7, they stay calm when you're emotional. So it's the same concept. You're sharing something, they're going to settle in and listen to you. It is about you in that moment. And it is always okay that it's about you, because narcissists love to say, well, it's always got to be about you or whatever. Not always, just right now that I'm trying to express something. So if they're tuned in, they can stay calm so that you are allowed safely to express your emotions, right? And say what you need to say. And, safely. This is not that you're being abusive or anything. You're just maybe crying or getting a little angry, or your tone is elevated, whatever. But they're hanging in there with you, being calm, letting you express yourself. They're not going to mock your tears and shut you down. And they're not going to make it about, oh, this is too much. I can't handle this. And again, you're going to see this in their facial expressions, where, it's too much, whoa, whatever, so then you feel uncomfortable sharing, and they're making it about them being uncomfortable or embarrassed by your expressions. Okay, they're not going to tell you to stop crying, or don't be a baby, or be strong. They're just going to be there. They're just going to be right there with you. So I explain this a lot with parents. You're the parent and you have the boundaries. So your kid, especially young adults, teenagers, preteens, they're supposed to be allowed to bounce around within those safe boundaries. You're supposed to create these safe boundaries so the kid can be a kid, express themselves, be emotional, get in trouble, try this, do that, and stay safe. But when you have no boundaries, the kid tries to do that and they get in big trouble and they ruin their life, right? Or when you have tight, rigid boundaries, this is called control, not a boundary, then your kid can't try anything. So then when they do finally get away from you, they again go wild and do whatever. So it's the same thing when you're trying to share something emotional with someone. They should be able to sit there calm and allow you to do what you need to do to get it all out and feel better afterwards. Okay. When they're not doing this, there's someone who escalates with you, gets all upset with you, then again makes it about themselves. Oh, well, this is too much for me. I don't know. Or you're acting crazy, or you're too upset, or you're too angry, or Ridiculous. So really look for them being able to stay calm if you need to express yourself, and them being able to hold you in that calm, safe space so that you can express yourself, okay? Number 8, they respect your boundaries. So again, they do something you don't like, you tell them to stop, they actually stop. That's respecting your boundaries, okay? But even in conversations, if you're talking about something and you get to a piece that you don't want to share, they don't push you. You say, hey, I don't want to share any more about that. They leave it alone. They definitely don't tell other people those private things that you've told them. And then they definitely back off if you need space. They don't take it personal. They don't get defensive. Just if, hey, I just need a moment. I just need to process this. I just need to be alone. They're like, okay, cool. Because again, real love, if you love someone, would be allowing that person to do that, because you would want the person you love to get their needs met, right? So respecting boundaries is a huge one. I had a simple one back in the day. Don't ask me how old I am, but I don't really care about that. But cell phones had just became a thing. Like I had a pager and then I had a cell phone. And so people are calling and calling. Everybody's calling, getting used to this whole cell phone thing, right? And I'm a single mom. I don't see my kids all day long till 5 p.m. And then they go to bed around 8, 9 p.m. So that's 3 to 4 hours with my kids. So I'm trying to make dinner, get them to do homework, get them to get ready for bed. And I'm trying to talk on the phone too with these people, whoever, friends, right? So one day I just was like, this is chaos. I'm screaming at the kids because they're not listening. And I realized they want attention. Of course, they haven't seen me all day. So I started telling people, don't call me. Don't call me between 5 and 8. Don't call me. I'm not going to answer because I need to focus on my kids. And lo and behold, my kids calmed down. They got that one-on-one attention. It was a lot better. So when I started dating, I told someone that, and he did it. No problem, right? I was like, okay. So he said it, which I was like, let's see if he'll really do it. And then he did it. And I was like, okay, cool. Check. He respected my boundary. Whereas another guy I tried to date was like, oh, I really want to see you. And I was like, I have my kids and you can't meet them yet or whatever. Oh, well, I'll just drive up to your apartment and we can sit in the car and chat at like 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, do I look like I'm a 17-year-old girl to you? I'm not about to leave my children alone in my apartment sleeping so I could go sit in a car to chat with you because you are not man enough and patient enough to wait to see me at a proper date and time and in the daylight, right? No doubt. So if you read my book, It's Not Love, there's some dating tips in the back that talk about appropriate times for people to be talking to you and appropriate ways that they can show that they care about you and your time and not what they want in that moment. Okay? All right. Number 9, they can see your side even if they disagree with you. So someone with empathy, they try to understand your logic. They ask questions, and then if they can't quite get it, they still can see why you would think that way or feel that way, even if they have to disagree with you. They don't dismiss your perspective as stupid, right? We've all heard that. That's stupid, you're crazy, you're so dumb. However many ways the narcissist person puts you down, right? And then they don't turn the disagreements into character attacks. Very important. Character attacks, man. One of my main narcissists in my life, my mom, was a perfectionist at that. So if you disagreed with her, she would look at you sideways and be like, oh, what's wrong with you? No one can tell you anything. Oh, you don't want to hear anything people have to say. And just because you were trying to set a boundary or, explain your side of something. So the empathetic person would not do that. Okay. They would not attack your character because you think differently, and they may come back and go, hey, I thought about how you thought about it. And I get it now. Right. And finally, number 10, they show up in practical ways. So again, they can sense something's wrong with you. They've asked what's wrong with you. They remember that you told them things were difficult. And then they just do nice things for you, or they ask to do nice things for you. An empathetic person will bring you food when you're sick, offer you rides if something happens to your car, help with things practically if you're overwhelmed or you say you need help. They just, would offer to do things where a non-empathetic person would totally dismiss you. And especially in higher things like the worst time of your life, anything super medical, anything really urgent, the non-empathetic person disappears. Like they don't even want to be around that because the amount of fake empathy they would have to muster up is too painful for them, but next to you, you have that empathetic person who's there with you. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. If you need more help, we have coaching, we have therapy, we have it all. So go to my website, sign up today to really change your life and start finding people who treat you like this instead of people who've been treating you like crap for a long time. Okay, so again, I'm Susan Broussard, licensed marriage and family therapist, and this has been 10 ways to see true empathy.